guys, welcome back. So we're about to go ahead and go over One Piece.
Still just the two of us.
Yeah. We're trying, man.
We're trying, guys. We're trying, all right?
But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and talk about One Piece. We're going to go over the manga. So this is a spoiler alert for the anime. So if you guys are just watching the anime,
spoiler
we're
alert.
sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. Just go to the next, go in the time card or whatever we set up. Don't watch this part if you don't want to know what's going on in the manga.
All right, so what happened in the manga this week?
Okay, so what happened in the manga this week? If you remember from last week when I was explaining that they were in the Yonko's territory, Big Mom. So what's been going on is they've had an escape plan, basically. They've been trying to get out, but it's been like a 10-hour period where they're trying to get out, or I think it's maybe even been longer. I apologize if I'm not 100% accurate on that one, but the whole time they've been trying to get out, Luffy has been fighting a guy named Katakuri. Katakuri is a sweet commander, which is and the right-hand man of the Yonko, meaning he's real. And he showed this capability of seeing the future with his observation haki. There's a lot of things I'm throwing out there. We'll probably explain it at some point, but if you're listening to it, you read the manga, you're good. Anyway, so Luffy has been fighting him, trying to get to his ability. He's trying to be able to see the future like Katakuri can, because this is going to be the thing that elevates him to the level to be able to fight these Yonko. He was fighting him. Last week, he got a really big injury on his side. Katakuri took a chunk out. So that's how it started. Then Katakuri was like, oh, so we've been fighting this long. He actually showed that he was getting respect for Luffy through fighting him. Luffy's a great fighter. And then it turned out someone actually interfered with this fight, which was his sister. So when that happened, Katakuri got mad, went back, yelled at his sister. Him and Luffy, or he turned back to Luffy, was like, all right, if she did that to you and messed with you, he turned his spear that took the chunk out of Luffy, stabbed himself. He has the same injury as Luffy now. Now he's fighting. He wants to fight him on equal terms. It's basically, this chapter was less about action, more so about character building, making you respect Katakuri, making you respect Luffy. They knocked out anyone that's around them, so now it's just going to be a fight between, how they put it, two men. They're just going at it. That basically wraps up everything that happened in the chapter. Very short summary. That way you can still go ahead and read it if you haven't read it already.
So with that being said, and then we'll go ahead and try to stop killing with spoilers right now and get a little bit more specific. So from what you're saying, the episode or the this week in the manga, it was explaining the respect that these two have, and it's more so, it's not necessarily about the combat or any extreme critical points in it. It's just more so like, this person now has respect for this person or whatever. Yeah, through fighting, they've had become mutual respect for one another. And that seems to be a thing that does happen in animes relatively often, where two enemies do fight, and then at some point in time they obtain respect for each other.
I mean, put it in basketball terms. If you're playing basketball and you're like, man, this guy's really good, and the other guy's like, man, this guy's really good.
Yeah, you're not gonna run into that though, because people who play basketball are buttholes, and we're not gonna go into that. That's LA Fitness, but either way, though, so last week we were talking about how One Piece is super long. And so do you think that this tactic that they're using, are they using this just to extend One Piece even more, or are they doing it to really character build for you?
So, that's a good question. I want to say that it is for character development because, everybody that reads the manga, they agreed. If you look at anyone that critiques the manga on a weekly basis, everybody loved this chapter. This is a great chapter. There are moments where Oda, the creator, he's clearly drawing, like extending the time. This was more of a character development. I like the character development, the extending the time, like when Luffy gets taken away from a fight for a short period of time, that can be annoying. But when you're talking about like this chapter where you're like, oh wow, like Luffy's getting better, he's fighting this dude that's like has extreme power, like on a whole nother tier, and Luffy's holding his own and gets his respect. I love that in a series. It makes it more entertaining. But it is hard because even in explaining this, if you're talking to someone that hasn't seen the series, it's so much stuff to it that it's just so hard to really, really explain.
So with that being said, and we were also talking about that, does the length of One Piece deter people from getting into One Piece? Because I'm trying to keep up with you guys as far as like the animes and the mangas.
It's hard to explain it to someone who
it's like if I were to ask you, to kind of break it down for me, like Roy, of course, did it last week when he gave us that full overview. So, I have a better understanding.
That was just a part.
That's just a part. So, is it worth it? Is the amount of time that you have to make up, is it worth it to get into One Piece, or is it just one of those things where you're just gonna pick it up where you left off, you're just gonna pick it up where it is, and then just date your way back?
So I might give you a little dumb answer on this one, but
I get dumb answers every day, baby. Let's go.
It is worth it if you have the time. It is. So the thing about One Piece is, and anime in general, they're at a time about when we were growing up, about teenage years, there was a thing called the Big Three. The Big Three was Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
Okay.
In those three, One Piece is the only one left. One Piece, once again, is like 20-something years old.
Right.
So, with that said, there's a reason it's lasting this long. Like, people love it. In Japan, people love it. It's fantastic. But the thing is it is very, very long. 20 years. That, I think in the anime, it's somewhere around like 700 episodes or something.
You know what?
Think about how long that would take you to catch up.
Even thinking about that, like I of course picked up Dragon Ball Z through Retro Toonami. So Toonami, they came on during the day.
Yeah.
And so I think the first couple of episodes that I was in was the Namek Saga. And that was before Frieza was even active. So this is just a time frame. I want to say I picked up right after Vegeta was shipped on out of there after Goku bust his ass.
Yeah.
Or after Yeah. So that's where I picked it up at. And I was able to date back enough in Z where I was caught up. I had an understanding of the characters, and then there's like, oh, there's also Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball is hella canon. So it's just, have you taken time to completely watch back all of Dragon Ball?
I haven't.
But it's Matt has.
Everybody. Matt has.
But I have an understanding. Like I'll watch stuff on YouTube where I'll learn about like King Piccolo. I'll learn about that. I'll learn about.
Yeah, to be honest, I had no idea who Piccolo was when I first started watching. I just thought, hey, it's a green guy.
Yeah, it's a green. You learn about him. You learn more about the Red Ribbon Army. But you're saying that. Like, and I don't know how old. I know Dragon Ball is hella old, but
oh yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah.
One Piece is longer than Dragon the Dragon Ball series, then, isn't it?
Ooh, that I'd have to research. I don't know.
Because if we're talking Dragon Ball,
like
Dragon
Ball
Z,
started obviously earlier than One Piece. That's obvious, but like as a continuation, I don't know.
Because we had our breaks.
Yeah,
we definitely
there was definitely breaks. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to look into that. We'll get back to you guys on that next week.
Yeah.
We'll get that answer. But, yeah, you know what the thing, though, is about Dragon Ball Z? Even though we just spent, 15 minutes slandering it.
Everything has to date back.
The thing is you could go into Z, and not know about Dragon Ball and just watch and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you could almost do that for Super, too, relatively. In Dragon Ball, you could probably watch Dragon Ball, enjoy it, and you don't even have to watch Z or Super. I don't know if it's because of the segmentation of it or if it's just the way it was designed. But One Piece, I really don't think you can just pick it up at some point. Like there's a 2-year time skip at a certain point in One Piece, and I don't think you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up right here. Which I think it gets significantly better after this 2-year time skip. It introduces a lot more things.
Yeah,
but you can't just do it. You just can't. There's too much story building. There's too much things to it. You have to start from the beginning.
It reminds me of like certain television shows. So like, you could pick up Rick and Morty and you can just watch Rick and Morty and just enjoy it. If you date it, like if you watch it chronologically, you'll get a better appreciation of it. But it's a show where you can just pick it up and kind of roll with it. But there's also shows where you really can't do that in, like The Office. If you start with like really late seasons of The Office, it's not funny. But early seasons you can do that, and that's because it's so much more character development. And everyone's
it's just the point of saying, like, with The Office, there's built up jokes. Yeah. Like with One Piece, you have built up character moments. You have reasons. You have motivations that you're missing if you don't start from the beginning. And it goes. It's impressive, but it's like I can understand where it would throw someone off from joining, on the same note, because it's like if you try to pick it up, you could be like, oh, this fight scene's cool, but you're missing the depth of it. But if you try to start from the beginning, it's like it's taking forever to get to where I want to be.
So you're saying like the beginning of One Piece was so slow?
I think, I think it was a little bit so. Like if I was talking about the big three, like comparing it, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you know the other two. I think out of the three of them, One Piece had the slowest start.
Okay.
I think it did. I might get some hate comments for that one.
I mean,
but I think it honestly did. Bleach probably had the best start. Naruto had the second best start, and I think One Piece has the third best start or the worst.
I can't think. What's the anime with the giant folks, the big ass people that are eating people?
Oh, Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
that was one of the best starts in anime history.
See,
I don't know.
You know what's so funny about that though? Like I was so thirsty to watch Attack on Titan, and I was really watching it on Toonami. And the funny part was, it's like, for me, that was slow. Really? Slow in the sense where I had the story, but I wasn't patient enough to kind of watch through it. Like,
well, if you can't make it through that, then you can't make it through One Piece. There's no way.
And I understand that Attack on Titan actually had a quick start. I comprehend that, but what I'm saying is, as a more casual anime viewer, I'm looking for a solid ass start, and like I'm looking for something at the end of the first episode. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for some crazy stuff to go on first episode.
Yeah. And I think that's what, if you look at the different, like the newer animes coming up, I think that a lot of them are a lot shorter series. There's really I don't think there's really no long running anime series that are coming up, at least things that come up on a weekly basis without like taking a break or something. Like a lot of them are like 25 episode seasons or something. Yeah. Or even some are like 13 episode seasons, like One Punch Man, My Hero Academy, Attack on Titan. But
that's the thing though, like something like One Punch Man, it had such a quick start that it was very interesting. Like I was able to sit there through there, and that's why I've been loyal with One Punch Man.
Even though it's been a few years since it's came out.
It's been such a long time, but I'm waiting for it. I'm watching for it.
Should be this year, though.
You know what I'm saying?
So
But and same thing something like Attack on Titan. Like I think we went through a commercial break, and I stopped watching it because during the first half of the show, before it hit commercial break, I didn't see anything. So I'm like, man, fuck it, and went for something else.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it kind of depends on the taste that you're going for. But once again, One Piece, its fan base. I mean, just to kind of bring it all together, One Piece's fan base is very loyal to the series.
Right.
And with that dedication, you can see that it is a good series. From me, like you've heard me, Roy.
Yeah, you guys will talk about it all
fucking
day.
We could literally talk about it all day. Yeah. Just because there's so much to it. There's so much backstory that goes on in it, and there's so many things that you can analyze and all that, and it's awesome. Yeah. But for the casual viewer, I want to pick up a show and kind of wait.
It's just not there.
It's just not there. It's extremely hard. You have to actually dedicate, like how dedicated we are to getting this stuff out. Yeah. You have to dedicate yourself to watching One Piece because you're going to. It's hours, hour. It's gonna take weeks.
I remember I was crying,
probably months.
I was crying trying to catch up to Super. I couldn't imagine One Piece.
No, One Piece is a monster in its own. So.
All right, guys, that's our One Piece section. So we'll be right back.